Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you on board, of course, with the absolutely fantastic StarCraft tunes in the background. Just going to turn down my headset just a touch. And it's going to be an interesting game we've got here because, well, to be perfectly frank, I'm a little bit on both sides of the page. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, of course, from Team IvD is WtFoodge. Of course, Foodge is a new addition to our team, and of course, very happy to have him on board. And he will be our red Protoss down in the bottom left-hand corner here on Yonsu. His opponent, on the other hand, up in the top right-hand corner, I have had the pleasure of working with him. I have had the pleasure of casting with him. He is a huge, huge supporter and proponent in esports as well, especially in StarCraft 2, formerly working with MLG, and of course, an absolute baller himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Rodriguez, also known as Axeltoss. And so it's going to be a pretty good matchup. PvP is always a lot of fun, and of course, as I'm sure you guys can see, there is the clock going away in the bottom left-hand corner. Down to the bottom of the screen is the game heart overlay, and we do see, of course, gates going down by both players. Gas is being taken. This is where we're going to see a little bit of deviation between both players and their styles. What it really kind of drives at is if they take 2 gas, it means that they're going to be doing something a little bit more aggressive. If they take 1 gas, usually it's a little bit more passive. It really is dependent on how much they saturate. Now, if we anticipate seeing two workers out of each player on gas, we can see 1 and 2, and 3 actually on the one. Now, if we see 3 on the other, this means that Foodge will be planning on doing something a little bit more aggressive. So we can expect to see blink play, DTs, Stargate, those things. So because he's needing that gas very, very quickly, so he is going that route. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes blink play, to be perfectly honest, especially in a PvP. Now, what we see out of Axeltoss, of course, is 2 workers out of each. So what he's playing a little bit more conservatively. Doesn't mean that he can't do blink play with this. It's just that he's getting the additional gas he requires in order to get his mothership core out once the cybernetics core finishes, but at the same time allowing him to continue with his gate production with, of course, with stalkers coming on out. Now, we do have a probe headed its way across the map here. We'll keep an eye on that in just a couple of moments. Stargate's finishing up now. Foodge, on the other hand, has a good number of options available to him. Of course, he can go with any tech path he wishes, but I do need to point out that his economy, mineral-wise, is going to be somewhat hindered because of the fact that he's missing 2 probes on his minerals, whereas Axeltoss has had the opportunity to have a little bit of additional mineral income. So what we do see, of course, is Foodge's probe is going to get all the way on in here, get a really good scout. Of course, Zealot is going to be in hot pursuit, and is going to see, of course, that all 3 pylons are in the base. Now, if we do take a look on over to Foodge's base, he has 2 pylons in his base, and it would not surprise me if he's going to hide some tech. Indeed, there is the 3rd pylon over here. So, a quick little pointer for you guys: if you're doing your scout 430, 440 or so, and you see you're in your opponent's base and you only see 2 pylons, well, the 3rd one's somewhere else, so you may want to find it. Now, Axeltoss is going a lot more aggressive, of course. He decided to throw down his Nexus, but I think that was canceled, and it did get scouted by Foodge, so that was a cancel. Instead, he is opting to go straight for 4 gate, which is an absolutely phenomenally good choice. And, of course, we do see Twilight Council going down, so we can expect Dark Shrine or Blink play. And but judging by the amount of gas he's banking up here, he's got 300 so far. I'm going to go with with DTs. You don't need that much for blink. It's not that insane. Of course, Axeltoss is going to throw down a pylon of his own. He has no idea about that, that Twilight Council down in the bottom right here. But he does, of course, have units nearby. He's got himself, of course, the Zealot and the Stalker going to go to work here to try and do some damage. Of course, just needs to hold off so he can get this, just to get his first warping cycle off of this pylon here, as his gates are now switching on over to warp gate. Of course, he did expedite his warp gate tech a great deal. Of course, pylons are now going on everywhere in Foodge's base. Foodge in a lot of trouble because he has expanded behind this. Of course, we do have a Dark Shrine coming on out here, so he has a chance. He can hold on this as well, but Axeltoss does have a sizable advantage at this particular point in time, especially considering 400 minerals have been tied up in this Nexus. The Zealots are going to town, and of course, Axeltoss looking very, very strong here, of course, with the support of his Mothership Core. And then, of course, he is going to warp in some Stalkers on the high ground here. His army advantage is massive, 22-6. Sentry not able to get on over and get a force field down in time. Photon Overcharge is going to go down, and Zealots behind the lines are going to attract the fire of that Photon Overcharge as Axeltoss is going to back right on out here. Of course, this is yet to be scouted here. DT is not quite yet available. We do have, of course, the probe heading on out to try and get some closer pylons available so we can get some DTs into Axeltoss' base. Axeltoss does not have any means of detection just quite yet. No forges, no Stargate, and no robos. So that means no observers, no oracles, and no cannons. So there's no way to detect any DTs if they do come. Of course, we do have more pylons going down, getting closer and closer. Dark Shrine is finished. DTs are being warped in here. Axeltoss with his force here, trying to shut down FoodgeFoodge. Of course, Photon Overcharge is now over, and it is a very, very small force here. Sentry is going to interrupt these Stalkers, but ever so slightly. Of course, DTs are down, and of course, I'm sure Axeltoss knows about it now, as 2 DTs are heading on into the mineral lines here of Axeltoss. Of course, immediately throwing down a robo as well, and that is going to take some time. Might need to throw down some additional pylons, but it is an absolute massacre here of workers. FoodgeFoodge, on the other hand, is in the same kind of trouble. Of course, Zealots and Stalkers and the Mothership Core are all working away on this Nexus, trying to shut it down as quickly as possible. DTs are double teaming, or rather triple teaming it, and trying to hold this together. FoodgeFoodge does not, stand corrected, FoodgeFoodge does have enough to throw down a Nexus of his own, but Axeltoss is going to GG, and FoodgeFoodge is victorious. Check us out, IvDgaming.tv, as well as IvDgaming.com.